Many people thought Oregon was going to make the college football playoff this year, not only because they had an elite offense, but this was a defensive unit that, especially towards the back half of the season, really shined and showed some very nice upside on the defensive side of the ball. One of the guys who was a very solid player all season long for the Ducks was defensive tackle Brandon Dorlus, a very intriguing player who has a very interesting archetype, and it's going to be a very interesting player to see how he tests at the Senior Bowl and the upcoming draft combine. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment on this video and let me know which player you would like to see a deep dive on. Next week is Senior Bowl Super Week, where we are going to have a bunch of prospect spotlights on top of that, with a lot of the top players in Mobile, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at Brandon Dorlus. Dorlus in 2022 had a pretty solid season for the Ducks. He had 40 hurries, 4 hits, and 2 sacks on the season for Oregon, and was a guy who a lot of people put on their lists as a potential stud down the board in the 2024 NFL Draft. In 2023, Dorlus had 35 hurries, 7 hits, and 4 sacks on the season. Oregon came just short of the college football playoff, but he was really productive this season and is a guy who has been moving up draft boards slowly but surely. Dorlus is a very solid athlete. He has a quick first step and is a very good mover for his position. He has, like I mentioned, a quick first step off the line of scrimmage, and he has a lot of really solid athletic traits. He is quick, and he can get to the quarterback in the blink of an eye. So from the interior, I am really impressed by how athletic he is and how good of a pass rusher he is. As a pass rusher, I'm a huge fan of what he can do. He has a lot of power that he rushes the passer with, and he has active hands and incredible balance and body control. He leverages himself extremely well, and he showcases a lot of power in his game, which is something that I love to see. On top of that, Dorlus showcased a lot of really solid pass rush moves as well. He had a really nice swim move for the position, and he had a bunch of different moves he could use in order to get into the backfield. Had a nice spin, he had an up and over, which is how he had 75 pressures over the last 2 years at Oregon. He's a really good pass rusher from the interior, and I love that about his game. The last thing that I really liked about Dorlus is his positional versatility. Dorlus lined up in a lot of different places for the Ducks defense. He played in the B gap, he played over the tackle, he also played the outside tackle as role. He even dropped into coverage occasionally. It's something that I really like because he is a guy who I think can be used in so many different ways on so many defensive schemes, and it makes him a very intriguing prospect. Dorlus is a bit of a tweener. He's too small to play on the interior, weighing only 290 pounds, but he's also too big to play on the edge. He's going to need to add on some more weight or slim down a bit before he goes to the NFL. It's a similar predicament to what Tuli Tuipulotu had last year, and where he was a little bit too small to play inside, too big to play on the edge, and he ended up slimming down and being an edge, and he was awesome for the Chargers. I think Dorlus is going to have the opposite sort of transition, but it is definitely something I'm going to be monitoring because size does matter on the interior. Lastly, Dorlus to me feels like mostly a pass rush specialist. He was not an amazing run defender. He didn't split the defenders as well as I would have liked to see, and he didn't penetrate the run gaps extremely well, so it is something that I definitely think can improve in his game. He has all the potential in the world, and he's a really good athlete, but I would like to see his run defense definitely improve. Dorlus is a very fun player. As a pass rusher, he is extremely fun to watch, and he has a lot of upside. He definitely has some areas to improve upon, and I'll be interested to see how he goes about his weight combination and what he weighs in at the combine, but he is my number 6 defensive tackle in the 2024 NFL Draft. He's a very good player and a very good defensive tackle class, and I think he's going to get a lot more love as the pre-draft process continues. He is my number 77 player in the 2024 NFL Draft. Dorlus, to me, would work best as an inside edge rusher in a 3-4 scheme. Not an outside linebacker, but I think playing the inside edge rusher role could be the best spot for him at the NFL level. I think due to his size and versatility, this is where it translates best. However, if he does decide to add on more weight and comes in at around 305, I definitely could see him being a true defensive tackle in a 4-3 scheme. Like I mentioned earlier, he's played everywhere, so I'm not really too worried about one particular scheme being best for him. My comparison for Brandon Dorlus is Rams defensive tackle Kobe Turner. Turner was a rookie for the Rams this season, and he had a really impressive year. He was the rookie leader in sacks, but is a very solid pass rusher from the inside. On top of that, both Dorlus and Turner are a bit undersized and don't have the biggest frames in the world. Turner played that 4-3 defensive tackle role, which, when you're playing next to Aaron Donald, it takes some of that pressure off, but I think it shows the positional versatility, and I think Dorlus is going to have a very similar effect at the next level. Brandon Dorlus is a chess piece for the defensive line. He's a great athlete and a great pass rusher. I think he has all the upside in the world, and he's going to be a really solid NFL player if he goes to the right system. I believe Brandon Dorlus will be a top 75 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft.